Okay, let's look at how you can find the gradient of a point on a curve that you draw, any curve. So for example, if you have a curve that looks like this, and you want to find the gradient of a point, say here. So what you need to do is to take a ruler and try to angle the ruler such that this angle here and this angle here is the same. Now you can only do this visually, and as I have mentioned before, that curve sketching is essentially an estimate. So as much as you can see if this angle, is a visual check, this and this angle is the same, you can say that this line, the slope of this line, or the gradient of this line will be equivalent to the gradient of this point. Now, if you remember, the formula for gradient is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So you need to select 2 points on your line, any 2 points. So say this point and this point, and then find the coordinates so that you have y1 and y2, and then find the x coordinate, x1 and x2 of this point. If you minus y2 from y1, you will have the height here, and if you minus x2 from x1, you will have the base. So if you take this divided by this, you will have the gradient. So let's see another example. Say you have a coordinate and you want to find the gradient of a point here. So visually take a ruler and estimate such that your line is parallel to this point, to the curve here, and make sure as best as you can that the angle here and here are the same. So you find 2 points on your straight line. Now this is coordinate x1, y1, and coordinate x2, y2. So put in your formula. The gradient is equals to y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So let's take a look at a concrete example. So say you are given this question, the variables x and y are connected by the equation y equals to half 5x minus x squared. So the table below shows some values of x and corresponding values of y. Now first you are asked to find the values of a and b. That shouldn't be too difficult because you know the expression for y. So when y is a, you can put in the values for x to find y. And the value for x is minus half, minus half square. So if you work this out, you will get minus 1, 3 over 8. So same thing for b. To find b, or when y is b, x is 2.5. So just dump in the x values. 5 over 2 minus 5 over 2 square. Now if you work this out, you will get b is equals to 3, 1 over 8. Now the main point of this question is to show you how to find the tangent of the curve at point 1, 2. So in order to do that, you have to draw out this curve on a graph paper. And to draw out the curve, you will have to take a graph paper, plot the x and y axis, use the correct scale, plot it out. So after you plot out the curve, you should have something like this. This is your y-axis, and this is your x-axis. On this graph, you can see that the scale for the y and the x-axis is 2 cm represents 1 unit. So this is 1 cm, 1 cm, 2 cm represents 1 unit for the y-axis, and 2 cm represents 1 unit for the x-axis. So these points here are the points on the table on the previous slide. So once you mark out these points on this graph paper, you can sketch it using your ruler and your free hand to get something like this. So for part C, they ask you to find out the gradient at the point 1, 2. So at point 1, 2, it is this point. So what you should do is really to take a ruler and try to angle it in a way. Now your ruler, you can angle it many ways. You can angle it like that. You can angle it like this. You know, but all these are incorrect. You should try to angle it in such a way that it's like the green line, where the angle here and the angle here is the same, or as similar as your naked eye can see. So once you have the green line, or something close to the green line, you can arbitrarily choose 2 points. So say this point and this point, and get the coordinate. So the coordinate on this point is 2 and 3.5. The coordinate for the point here is 1 and 2. So you can find the gradient to be equals to y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. And if you work this out, you will see that the gradient is 1.5, 1.5. So you have found the gradient at this point. Now, the definition of gradient is the slope, and this is a curve. So obviously, at every single point, the gradient will change, unlike a straight line. On a straight line, the gradient is the same, because the slope of a straight line is always the same. But on a curve, if you were to choose another point here, the slope will be more gentle. So you will have to do the same thing to find the value of the gradient at another point. Alright, so for part D, now the gradient of the curve at point HK is 0. Draw the tangent at the point HK, hence find the value of h and of k. Now this is easy because when the gradient is 0, m is 0, it means that there is no slope. So the line is horizontal. It's a straight horizontal line. And if you look at the curve, there is only one point on the curve that the slope is flat. And it is at the top point here, at the maximum point, here, this point. So if we were to take the ruler and try to do the same thing, find the slope, find a line such that this angle and this angle is the same, it's a straight line, horizontal line. So you can see that there is only this point on the entire graph that has gradient 0. This point is 2.5 here. The x value is 2.5 and the y value is 3.1 something. But the accuracy of your graph is you can only get the closest possible value and it's 3.1. So it's 2.5 and 3.1.